From the national newsroom of the Canadian Press, I'm Jason White. The Bloc Quebecois leader says his party will give the minority Liberal government a chance to support its bill to increase seniors' pensions. The Liberal cabinet voted against the motion today. Bloc leader Yves-François Blanchet has given the Liberals until October 29th to support the bill, or he'll start working with opposition parties to try to force an election.
I'm not certain at all that this bill will pass. Not certain at all. But I said we will give this government one chance to do something right for many Quebecers and many Canadians.
The proposed changes to old age security would cost an estimated $3 billion per year, and the Liberals have said it's not a good policy. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau says G7 leaders agree the world must do everything it can to avoid an all-out war in the Middle East. He says that includes reiterating calls for a ceasefire and pushing for a two-state solution. British Columbia's party leaders have tussled over affordability, the toxic drug crisis, and conspiracy theories in their first debate of the provincial election campaign. The debate on Vancouver radio station CKNW started civilly, but then evolved into NDP leader David Eby and BC Conservative leader John Rustad trading barbs over credibility. Eby says he thinks it's valid to highlight a Conservative candidate's social media post suggesting COVID vaccines cause AIDS.
If my kid is sick, I don't want to take them to a hospital that's run by a government that thinks that vaccines cause AIDS. It's as simple as that. And that may feel negative, but the vision that I have is of a province where people can afford a home, where they access high-quality health care, where they're supported with the cost of daily life.
Rustad repeatedly accused Eby of telling outright lies about the Conservatives. U.S. federal prosecutors say Donald Trump, quote, resorted to crimes after losing the 2020 U.S. election in a failed bid to hang on to power. Prosecutors made the statement in a newly unsealed court filing, arguing the former president is not entitled to immunity from prosecution. A San Diego doctor charged in connection with Canadian actor Matthew Perry's fatal overdose has pleaded guilty to conspiring to distribute the surgical anesthetic ketamine. Reporter Margie Zaraletta picks up the story.
Dr. Mark Chavez pleaded guilty Wednesday to conspiring to distribute the drug ketamine, which a medical examiner ruled was the primary cause of Matthew Perry's death last October. Chavez is free on bond until his sentencing. He faces up to 10 years in prison. Chavez admitted in a plea agreement he obtained ketamine from his former clinic and from a wholesale distributor, where he submitted a fraudulent prescription. He has agreed to help prosecutors as they go after their main targets, the doctor and alleged dealer that prosecutors say sold the lethal dose to Perry.
Chavez becomes the third person to admit guilt in the aftermath of the Friends star's death last year. This is the Canadian Press. In sports, the Toronto Blue Jays have already started making changes after a last-place finish in the American League East, but general manager Ross Atkins will continue in his current role. Atkins says he's determined to get the club back into the postseason.
As we stated at the very beginning, we've had goals to bring championships back to Canada, and that certainly remains. And I know that I need to take a step in order for us to do that, and I'm committed to that.
This is the first time in 3 years the Jays haven't made the playoffs. Canadian figure skater Nikolai Sorensen has been suspended for at least 6 years for sexual maltreatment. He denies allegations he sexually assaulted an American figure skating coach and former skater in 2012. Coach Jesse Marsh has given 3 players their first call-up to Canada's men's soccer team: Jamie Knight-Labelle, Santiago Lopez, and Kwasi Poku. Canada faces Panama in a friendly next month in Toronto. From the Canadian Press, I'm Jason White.
Thanks for listening. Don't forget to follow and subscribe. For more of today's top stories, visit thecanadianpressnews.ca.